Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan, the voice behind ThatKaitoDan, and it's that time of year again. It's E3 season, so that means games aplenty and hopefully some surprises at this year's conferences. It's also time for me to share my thoughts once more on what I expect to see and what I would like to see. But before I go into the big three, where most of the focus will be in this video, let's quickly discuss my thoughts on what EA, Bethesda, and Ubisoft may have to offer. Starting off with EA, and obviously we have to expect a ton of sports games being shown, though I am curious if FIFA will have another story mode feature. That was actually a bit of a surprising reveal last time out, and I do think it is good for the single player side of FIFA. I just hope they tone it down with any celebrity appearances. I love football a lot, but this is supposed to be all about the games. The new Need for Speed game should get a small showing, same for any new game under the EA original lineup, which may mean that we're going to get a Poor Nervous Wreck again being shown on stage. But the biggest focus will undoubtedly be on Star Wars Battlefront 2. They'll likely go in big on the new single player story and the various new mechanics, and hopefully it will have enough content to make up for a rather thin Battlefront 1 in the eyes of its fans. Plus, with the next Star Wars film on the horizon, I wouldn't be shocked to see some kind of Last Jedi content, as either a pre-order bonus or later DLC. I do wonder though if this is gonna be the right time to reveal the next entry in the Dragon Age series. I know BioWare's still fresh off the reception of Mass Effect Andromeda, which will likely get some DLC focus as well, but there were murmurs of a new Dragon Age game being in the works, so even if it's just a small teaser trailer, I wouldn't be shocked to see something just to tie over the fans and be a big surprise for the EA showcase. Then it's Bethesda, which I've not got a lot for really, just because I don't really have a lot of games that I play for them. So unless they hit me with something that catches my eye, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But I will still watch, and I reckon we'll get stuff like Quake Champions, maybe some DLC for Fallout and Doom, and who knows, maybe now's the time that they finally move on from Skyrim and tease the upcoming new entry of the Elder Scrolls series. That, and we did have that little nugget of Wolfenstein appearing last year in a production image that kinda went nowhere. Maybe it got delayed and it's now a year later on when the world gets to see a new Wolfenstein game. Just please, for the love of God, can we have no one screaming their head off constantly like that one woman last year? It kept on howling like a banshee and that really got distracting from the stuff on stage. And now let's talk about Ubisoft. I think Aisha Tyler's still presenting, so expect a lot of gags and strangeness there, as well as another Just Dance game being shown, plus I think The Crew 2 as well, and we should hopefully get a new trailer for South Park The Fractured But Whole, just to help revitalize interest in that game after it got delayed about a couple of months ago. The two big games though that will get a lot of airtime for sure will be the heavily leaked new Assassin's Creed game and the recently revealed Far Cry 5. I'm not that big of a fan of Far Cry, but I am a big fan of the Assassin's Creed series, though I'm glad that it took a year off just to try and work out some of its issues. So hopefully the break does lead for a great return, even if I am still waiting on a game set in Japan. And I am hearing that they're going to be bringing back the ship mechanics, which was always a lot of fun. And yes, I reckon the big elephant in the room, the very odd out of the blue crossover with Mario and the Rabbids, will be properly revealed here, since if you're gonna sell this oddball combination and its equally odd characters teaming up with Mario and co, then it's best to do it with the company that made them and know them best. Definitely got my eye on this one just from the concept alone. Now we're on to the big stuff, and right off the bat for Microsoft, their largest focus is definitely gonna be on Project Scorpio. I have no clue what to make of this system honestly, from the tidbits given so far, just that it's got a lot of teraflops, whatever they are. But if it's supposed to be this super powerful system echoing the PS4 Pro, then hopefully it's got enough to make it worth the while and worth getting an upgrade, besides just visuals. Either way, on the game front, State of Decay 2 and Sea of Thieves should pop up at some point, same for perhaps Killer Instinct. But for me, I'm curious about some of the games that we've heard very little about lately. I didn't know until recently that We Happy Few is already out in early access, while the team works on the narrative side of things. But that game's got a lot of striking elements to it that does make it stand out, so hopefully it's good to go now. Especially since there's no more Scalebound, which was one of the biggest reasons for me possibly looking to finally get into an Xbox One at long last, until it got recently canned. There has been chatter though about the license getting renewed, so maybe there's been a change of heart, or maybe the game got picked up by someone else, maybe even Sony. But if it's not coming back, then there definitely needs to be something to fill that gap that's left behind. Perhaps Cuphead? That game's been a hotly anticipated one, but it's been kept in the dark lately, which I hope isn't a sign of some issues. I'm a big fan of how it looks with that 1920s cartoon style that not a lot of games use, and it looks bonkers fun, so fingers crossed that we do get a release date for that. If there's one game though that I want to bank on finally get new information for that could be good to coincide with the release of the Scorpio, then it's definitely Crackdown 3. That's supposed to be coming out later this year, but ever since its reveal we've had pretty much nothing. If Microsoft wants a lot of numbers for Project Scorpio, games with a lot of fan support and interesting gameplay like this one is definitely going to be key. So perhaps we could also see a release near the time of the Scorpio when that drops, which would be a wise move in my opinion, which I also suspect by the way in terms of the Scorpio's price and release will probably be about $349 at max and probably released around in the fall. Sony time now, and I'm gonna kick off with a big topic. Are we gonna get anything for Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy VII Remake? For the latter, I actually think we will, but only in terms of a new trailer that will probably still focus on the early bombing mission, just with new footage. Though it would be nice to get even a small CGI glimpse of guys like Tifa, Aerith, or Sephiroth. Maybe even other notable landmarks as well, just as a sign of progress for the project, even if it's going to still be ages away. As for Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm caught in two minds. We still have no clue when the game will be out, and information has been rather thin lately. But something in me just makes me think that we may finally catch a break after missing out on some promised information in the winter earlier on. My guess is we will see the first glimpse of gameplay shown in the Big Hero 6 world, as well as maybe a brand new world revealed that hopefully in my case is Treasure Planet. And finally, and this is probably going to be one of my biggest bold guesses of this video, a release window of 2018. But I wholeheartedly expect that to be a late 2018 release window, and with the likelihood of a delay. But if we can at least get that, then I'll be content, and moving away from the constant endings of now in development will help the mood for those like me who are still eagerly awaiting this game. That's not to say that I think that's it for Japanese games at this conference. There was an article recently that talked about the recent success of games like Persona 5 and Nier Automata that could hint to a bigger Japanese gaming presence at Sony's conference, at least in terms of what we usually get. Maybe it will be something from these two games that I just talked about, or it could even mean appearances for the likes of Dragon Quest XI or Ni no Kuni 2. Moving on, and we know Death Stranding won't be making an appearance this year, which is a surprise, but given how early it seems that we got the reveal in the first place, I'm okay with it. But we should be getting something new out of God of War. And if it can build on my hype levels after its strong reveal last year, this could be an instant day one purchase, not just for me but for many out there as well. Just show us more of that beautiful world with some Norse baddies, the new combat mechanics, and definitely adding more on that interesting dynamic with Kratos and his kid, and well, we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed as well that we'll see something from the folks in Insomniac regarding the Spider-Man game, which looks a lot of fun already, though I hope it doesn't get pushed for a movie tie-in release date alongside Spider-Man Homecoming. Also, I think it's way too early to see anything new in regards to Last of Us Part 2 after we only just recently got that reveal teaser back in the PSX, but that should open the door for Days Gone to return to E3 and try and get some stable ground to help it stand out against the more popular zombie survival game, beyond the huge numbers that you'll be able to face. I am interested in this game, and I think it's something to do with an open world style as well, but again, with The Last of Us Part 2 coming and a lot of eyes already drawn to that before we even see gameplay, Days Gone really needs to find something to help it stand out. Finally, I'll round off with betting on appearances from Detroit and Uncharted Lost Legacy, and then one last bold guess from me. Either Crash Team Racing HD or something new for Spyro. The Crash Bandicoot team has been teasing something, and the kart racer was a blast to play in the past, that I would love to see get a remaster as well alongside the Insane trilogy, though hopefully with some online play as well. And as for Spyro, his return may come later his return may bank later on in terms of the success of the Crash remaster, but if Bubsy of all people can get a new game in 2017, then I think we definitely deserve to get the Dragon's long overdue comeback as well. And last, but by certainly no means least, it's Nintendo, who are being very interesting this year. Even though this is the first E3 of the Switch era, I'm shocked that their Spotlight show is apparently going to be only around half an hour long, which is again very surprising considering what you expect for them to show, which could mean that we're going to get only a few games with a lot of focus, or we're going to get some bite-sized looks and reveals with only games like Super Mario Odyssey being unveiled in a proper size. That game looks beautiful by the way, and I can only imagine how crazy the platforming will be with our hat ability and the wide world that you'll be able to play in. But yeah, if this is the case in terms of what's being shown in such a short time, then I am honestly glad then that we got our Pokemon news out of the way already, and there's really no need for any information now on ARMS and Splatoon 2, since we've got more than enough already, and there's the tournaments going on anyway at the event. It might be too early to go big on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 or Fire Emblem Warriors, but I would put money on at least a new trailer revealing new details and new faces. But this may be the time that we start to see sprinkles at least of iconic series making their grand return, just to help the sales of the Switch keep on a high. So put me down for a console Animal Crossing game, the game long in development from Retro Studios that could very well be a new Metroid, and yes, I'm gonna bet on a Smash Switch reveal, with maybe one or two characters shown to fire up the hype train once more. I just hope though that it's going to be a complete package deal, with as many stages as possible from the 3DS and the Wii U versions, and with all characters and DLC items. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to make one last big bold guess. I'm going to say that we have not heard all the Pokemon news yet. Nintendo will have one small teaser trailer for a Diamond and Pearl remake for the Switch, coming in very late 2018. It's a long shot and I'm bound to be wrong, and I'm kind of accepting that, but if I am right, then hey, plenty to be excited about, right? And that's all I've got to share. Even if I get a lot of these predictions wrong, I'm still hoping to see plenty for me to get pumped out about in the future of the gaming world, and enough entertainment to make the long hours staying up watching the event worth it. But those are just my opinions. Tell me what you guys want to see at this year's E3 in the comments down below. And while you're at it, hit the subscribe and bell buttons to get every new video from me as they drop. Follow me as well on Twitter through the link in the description down below. And until next time, have a good day or good night, and enjoy E3. Peace out.